Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with my first impressions of the new Anastasia Subculture Palette. I got this whenever Ulta was doing their 20% off all of their items, I think, including Prestige. So I was just like, I gotta jump on this because I'm going to regret it if I don't. I haven't touched like any of the colors yet. But it comes with this really nice brush. I think it's the same brush as the Master Palette, so they've really improved like the brushes that they include with these kits. Like, they're actually worth keeping. This is $42 from Ulta, Sephora, Anastasia's website, and also Beautylish and whatever other retailers sell Anastasia Beverly Hills. You get 12 unique shades. So this is supposed to be like a palette that's more on edge. It's not for like the typical, I guess, kind of look you want to go for, and you can kind of already see it with the color scheme. So it's very, very like fall-like, and just I'm excited to use this. So obviously there's been a lot of talk about how like this palette sucks and there's a lot of fallout. It's nothing like the Modern Renaissance palette or, you know, anything like that. But I swatched it in stores and it's really, really nice. I really enjoy it. Yeah, sorry, just gotta move my mirror real quick. Obviously, I've already finished like my base makeup, so I just gotta move on to eye makeup. I have already primed my lids as well. Actually, I used two different ones. I used the Urban Decay eye primer, and then on this side I just used like a cream shadow base from BareMinerals. Let's walk into this. I don't really know what look I want to do yet. I haven't thought this out. I haven't really thought this out. I'm gonna start off with the shade in Dawn. And I know people say you just need like a really light top. So I'm just gonna try and do that. I kind of failed with that first one because I totally forgot until now. Okay, so I'm just gonna apply that all over the lid. Pretty much just applying it all over the lid and using it as like my transition shade of sorts. It's dark enough in color to where I can use it, so you can kind of see like it's just very subtle. It's a very subtle shadow. So I was watching Kathleen Lights use this in her like first impressions, like a full face of first impressions. And oh my gosh, I'm so envious of all the lid space she has. I don't have much lid space, obviously, but I was just watching it and I was mesmerized. I'm gonna go in with the shade Roxy. Slightly. I'm gonna go into my crease with that. Yeah, well, I was telling my SO that ever since I got pink hair, I've been so inspired and just so excited to do makeup. But also, I've realized that a lot of my palettes are just warm and pinks and plums because of all the pinks and plums that just flowed through last year and just, you know, kind of like earlier this year too. So a lot of the palettes that I've been using is like the Huda Beauty. I've been using, what else? Like the Lorac Mega Pro 3 and just like the Modern Renaissance palettes. They're just all like warm and plum and pink, and I'm like, is pink makeup with my pink hair too much? I don't know. So I was really excited to get this palette because it's not just pinks and plums. I could play around a little more, but then also I've been wanting to like kind of just do more than neutrals. And nothing I have has really been like inspiring me too much, but I have been enjoying doing looks that would complement, I guess, of sorts, this pink hair. Okay, so I'm gonna try for the shade in Electric. I'm using like a flat shader brush by Equal Tools. I kind of gather it because it's it looks like a foiled shadow. Let's see how this works out. I'm gonna apply it onto the lid. really pretty. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of like a, I don't know, it's almost like a lime green, except like a little more yellow. I don't know how I would describe it, but it kind of has like these greenish tints. This is a really fun palette already. And it is really pigmented, if you can't already tell. You don't need much. I feel like it's, texturally speaking, it seems very similar to the Modern Renaissance already. It is supposed to be its sister palette. So I could see how they would, you know, end up using just kind of like the same formulation and pressing it the same way. These foiled shadows are a bit new though, because I haven't used any of the Anastasia's foiled shadows unless they were, you know, included in a palette, because I tend to not buy singles. I have a tough time using single shadows because I just forget about them, and I typically just use palettes because it's easier for me. I'm just lazy. And I enjoy seeing everything like in one spot. So I mean, I'll still use like multiple different palettes, but I prefer, oh my god, I don't know. I prefer to use palettes overall. So the flat shader brush worked really well. This is nice and stiff, so that we can capture like the foiled shadows better. So I'm going to go in with the shade in All Star. And then I'm using this brush from the Sonia Kashuk Holiday Collection last year. It's the little serpent brush. I really like this brush for like the outer V, kind of the crease. It's so nice and easy to control. I love it. And it deposits pigment really well. But sometimes depending on how I dry it, it dries really like ruffled, and then my pigment ends up being like muddy looking almost. So I realize I don't do a lot of like chatty, like get readies or anything where I actually get to talk about anything. So I figured I might as well use this first impression to take advantage of that. I will be starting my first aesthetics class very soon in September. And they just called me today telling me about when they're doing orientation, which is in about a week. So I'm super excited, but also really nervous. It's been over a year. It's been since last May. So it's been like a year and like 3 months or so since I've taken like any classes or just in general like been in school. I've been out of school for like forever, it feels like. I've just been working, and it's kind of nerve-wracking going back to school because now I have to worry about homework and reading, and all I've been doing this year is just like working and watching Netflix. Okay, so I'm going to take the MAC 217 and kind of dip in with Roxy just a teeny bit, tap it off, and I'm gonna blend out All Star, which I just put on my lid, so that way it can have a really nice transition. I don't want it to look too harsh. Yeah, so I'm excited to start aesthetics classes finally. And it took me a while to figure out where I wanted to go. So I'm in an area where there is an Aveda school, and I wanted to go there for aesthetics first. But it is like $15,000. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to dish out that money to go to an Aveda school. I've heard like different things from different people. Some people really loved it. Other people, they were kind of like, meh, you know. So whenever I would go get a facial done, I would talk to my esthetician, and because I went to a few different places just so I could talk to a few different people. And luckily I talked to one, and she went to Aveda as well as just like a community college, and she went to like other academies as well. And she was just like, you know, she didn't have she didn't retain as much information from Aveda as she did from, say, like a community college or anything, because Aveda's curriculum it's only a 6-month program, so they really drill it into you as quickly as possible. And sometimes, I guess depending on what kind of person you are and how well you learn, it's not going to be optimal for information retention. So I was just like, yeah, that's completely true, and I can see how that would affect me because I probably wouldn't remember everything. And what I want is for the information to stick, especially. Not only that, but then she was telling me that whenever she went to Aveda, they would show like equipment and be like, okay, this is, just for example, what a steamer is, but don't ever touch it. And so I was just kind of like, if they don't have a really hands-on approach, then I don't know if I want to be in that kind of environment. I want to be able to touch things, work them, and really figure them out. I mean, obviously this is just from one person's experience, so I don't know if that is how like all the Aveda institutes work. But I could kind of see it working that way because it is a corporation, since they're owned by Estee Lauder. So I feel like they're kind of a bit more uptight about how they use their equipment and let students and experienced people use their equipment. I am very excited to start finally doing something that I want to do. I'm okay with where I'm working. I enjoy working with people, which is why I want to become an esthetician. But I definitely want to deal with cosmetics more so. Okay, so I blended it all out. Now let's go in for the bottom. Okay, I'm just gonna use the brush that I came with. I'm gonna go in with Dawn again, just for my lower lashes, or just for my lower lash line, so that way it can kind of all blend together a little better. I'm going to go in with Edge right here. Just tap tap. I'll be completely honest, I don't know exactly how I feel about putting like yellow shadow on my skin, considering I am like warm undertone and just in general just kind of like yellow. So putting like yellow seems kind of fine to me. But we'll see how it goes. I think it looks okay so far. I think my color scheme's just a little all over the place, but it's really fun. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with Access right here. Tap, tap. Go to hers here. People are gonna be like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl's makeup? Why is it so colorful? And just like, okay, gonna pause before I go crazy. So I'm gonna like finish up my look, but you see like how my color scheme is. I'm gonna put on liner and then my lashes and just put on this lipstick. I'll be back. Alright, so I'm back. I finished up my makeup, put on my eyelashes, and then I also, originally I wasn't going to use black eyeliner on my lower lashes, but I did, and then I went in with the shade in Rowdy right here to kind of buff it out and, blend it all together. So I used that one as well, and then I put on my lipstick and oh my gosh, I haven't even put on blush, you guys. Totally forgot. Okay, so what blush am I gonna use? I kind of feel like Wendy from Wendy's. I feel like their mascot a little bit. Okay, so overall, so far I'm really enjoying this palette. Of course, obviously I waited until a lot of other people reviewed it and let them do my bidding. So I followed like other people's advice. I used a light hand and just a teeny little tap, but these are very pigmented. They show true to color so long as you depending on how much you put on, but it's definitely buildable in pigment. I don't know if it's because I put liner on, but as far as my crease goes, you can't really see it as much. So I don't know if it's like the pigment kind of lacking after a little bit, you know, muting down and just getting lighter and lighter, but it could just be my liner. I find that it is a really fun palette to use. The shade in Electric was easy to use as well. So we'll see about the one in Adorn. So let's go ahead and look at this palette up close so that way you can get a better feel of it. Here is the palette up close. I probably should have showed you before you even started using it. But you can kind of see like the range of shadows that you get. You get some really nice ones. This one, Cube, it's actually like an iridescent one. It has like pink, in it as well. So I'll go ahead and swatch. I'm gonna swatch from left to right and then top to bottom. So I'm gonna go with this one first and then go down here. So you have Cube, which you can't even really see, honestly. Maybe my swatches are just wimpy. Yeah, can't really tell. Okay. And then we have Dawn, which I used. And then Destiny. And then we have Adorn. Alright, so after Adorn comes All-Star, Mercury, and Access. I kind of like really dug my finger into that one, so it's kind of like chalky, but it's very pigmented, so pigmented. And obviously I can't count because there are 7 in each row, so there are 14 shadows. I think earlier I said like 12. Next we have Roxy. Ooh, that's gorgeous, and I did use it today as well. Roxy, Electric, Fudge, and New Wave. Lastly, we have Untamed, Edge, and Rowdy. Okay. So these are all 14 of the eyeshadows. They're all highly pigmented. They swatch really well. Really well on the skin. And I didn't even use primer on these. These are all just one swipe, except for Cube, because Cube is just kind of like, you can't really see it. Electric is also a little lacking, but I think they're kind of just like toppers almost, like eyeshadow toppers, kind of like how we have blush toppers. But then obviously you saw that I was able to use it alone as well. Adorn is absolutely gorgeous though. That one is very pigmented as well. So you can see all of these beautiful swatches, and I'm gonna like wipe it off later. Okay, but yeah, so far really impressed with this shadow palette. Love the colors because they're just ultra like inspiring. You can do different looks with them, and I don't know, the Anastasia formulation is phenomenal. Like their eyeshadows are always so good. So far so good. I'm really enjoying this palette. I love the color scheme. I love how all the colors are kind of unique, and the combinations that you come up with are going to be ultra unique as well. So thanks for watching my first impressions plus the demo and the swatches. Hopefully very soon I'll be able to put up like a full-on review. Because I feel like this is going to be a really good palette. I might start using it a lot more so than my other ones, especially because of this pink hair. So I'm going to want to like veer away from the plums and pinks and just reds and kind of just dive into this. It's just everything that other palettes are not right now. So thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye!